to begin.
This is the G-Wagon looking Mercedes GLB, specifically the GLB 250. It's got a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. It comes with 165 kilowatts, 350 Newton meters of torque, and is hooked up to an 8-speed DCT box.
Wow! That's amazing!
The engine is completely overhauled and updated to be more efficient and more powerful, both at the same time, which is pretty impressive. So the side profile of this car is supposed to be orientated towards being an off-roader.
Buckle up, lads. I'm going off-road.
Despite this one only being front-wheel drive, and that's where they come with a whole, it kind of looks like a G-Wagon vibe.
I don't see that it does, sir.
The GLB is also quite a bit bigger than the B-Class that it's based on, so you have a lot more interior space. So this GLB is configured to be a 5-seater, but you have the option of speccing it as a 7-seater, which is a little unusual for an SUV this size. If you don't spec the 7 seats, it just has a massive boot. If you put those seats down, then you have a whopping 1,800 liters of boot space, which is just enormous. So the front is set up to be off-road. So you have a very short overhang, it's quite flat in the front, but you also have these steely cool lights. Rear legroom in the back of the GLB is very impressive as well. This is my driving position, it's quite far back. And as an adult, tons of space here, tons of space there. Again, the kind of boxiness and the boxy shape of this car makes it enormous on the inside for the size SUV that it is. Right, and then in the front of the car, we have this widescreen cockpit, and this runs the MBUX system. And I'll go into way more detail later in this video on all the cool stuff you can do here. But CarPlay, Android Auto, Bluetooth, USB-C jack for your phone, it's all here. What is interesting from a design perspective is you have this kind of smooth shelf here, this fake aluminium stuff over here, and these round air vents which kind of open and close by rotating, also with sort of aluminium escape type finishes around the side, lots of gloss black. Not a bad interior, it actually looks really nice, very well finished, but we'll go into way more detail in this just now in the video. For now, let's take it for a drive. So how does the GLB 250 drive? Now, so this is one of two variants. You get the petrol and you get the diesel. They're both 2 liters. They both produce similar kind of power. What is interesting is that the diesel has 4-wheel drive and the petrol doesn't. We are driving the petrol. So this is front wheel drive. It's 162 kilowatts, as I said. But I won't lie, it's super responsive. And for an SUV this size, it's not a big SUV, it is a sort of mid-range SUV, but it's very responsive. 350 Newton meters makes it happen very quickly. It's a pleasure to drive. Note, it does not have an air suspension, but the suspension is really freaking good. It does have a dynamic mode, so if we kick it into dynamic, sport, which is interesting because the button over here says dynamic, and the screen over there says sport, but when you go into dynamic or sport, whatever you want to call it, everything does stiffen up just like a tad. This is not a performance car, this is not an AMG, so let's not go there, but it's enough to kind of give you a sporty feel. It keeps the revs up, you're sort of up an extra gear or two all the time. Okay, so I pulled over, and there are a couple of other things that I want to show you around this car. So let's take a walk around. So they have 18-inch alloys on here, nothing fancy, quite elegant, typical Mercedes, really straightforward, really elegant, looks nice, lots of big rubber, again with the whole off-road vibe that they're going for. You have the LED lights in the front, daytime running lights on both sort of the bottom and the top, and those obviously are LEDs. Great front grille. There's this massive Merc badge here, and they've obviously in the modern Mercs done away with the little Merc badge that stands up, gets ripped off, gets stolen. But yeah, great looking grille from the front, LED lights there. You've got the roof racks at the top that kind of finish off that off-road look. It does look like it wants to go off-road. It's such a pity this is not a 4x4 as well. 18-inch wheels, as I pointed out. Lots of chrome bits. So you'll see there's chrome down the front there. There's chrome on the badge and on the grille. There's a chrome strip on the side over there. So tons of chrome, integrated indicators on the mirror over there. This is quite a simple color. They just kind of kept it silver. It is very square looking at the back, and I'm still confused as to the whole G-Wagon mention vibe thing going on there. But on the back here, you've also got the GLB 250 badge over there. Nothing on that side, Merc badge there. It does have more chrome at the bottom, but it does have more chrome over there. But it does have an automated tailgate. So you kind of click that, it pops open. There's this massive sort of juicy red button here for closing it. Again, with a massive boot space, as I said just now, you can opt for 7 seats. So you can have 2 more in the back here. What is interesting is there's no way to fold down those seats from the back. The only way to get the seats down is you're going to come over here, get all the stuff out the way, you pull on these little lassos, the seat pops down. There you have like a massive loading area. All 3 seats can fold down individually, although if you put that one down now, the middle one will go down. But you can have kind of these 2 up. Your 60-40 split basically is optional and split. You do have this cool kind of armrest over there, some cup holders that kick out over here. Cool stuff, man. Quite a lot of attention to detail. You see there's like a little Merc logo on the actual wiper. It'll cost you R1 million if that fell off. So for 907,000 Rand, at the time obviously of the press release and filming this video, the GLB is bigger than a B-Class. It's actually massively spacious inside, specifically because it's so square at the back. It's not sort of doing any of that coupe kind of stuff as of other models. It's a really good looking car. It drives fantastically. The economy is not bad. I'm definitely getting sub 10. It's actually a really good proposition for everything that you get in this car. I think the diesel with a 4x4 would probably be better, more economical, etc. But this GLB 250 is not a bad proposition at all. Sponsor of today's video is Rocking One. Think of them as the Netflix of tech support. So for like one monthly fee, fixed monthly fee, you get all the tech support you could possibly need. So you don't have to pay by the hour. You don't have to worry about contacting someone, getting exorbitant bills, spending silly money trying to fix basic issues. You never have to worry about somebody taking longer than they should so that they can bill you more. Pay a fixed rate. You get as much tech support as you need. Check them out. Link is in the description. www.rocking.one. Okay, so I managed to get out of the sun so that I can show you what the interior of this vehicle looks like. And it's actually pretty cool. So, as I said earlier, there's this whole widescreen thing going on, but it's not actually one screen. Very cleverly, the first screen runs up to here and the second screen starts over there. And there's this kind of section in the middle here where nothing happens. So that's a screen and that's a screen, but it's all very smooth behind sort of one pane of glass. And from where you sit as the driver, the steering wheel kind of covers that section. So you don't kind of feel like you can't see something, or you don't feel like, you know, there should be screen, or you can't see the gap. So that's very clever. It gives you the feeling that there's a whole screen, but there's actually 2 separate screens. That screen is kind of the car infotainment system. You'll see currently it's on Apple CarPlay. Apple CarPlay runs through this USB-C port over here. These are the aircon units. So if you turn them that way, then they're off. And then when you turn them this way, they're on, and you can probably hear on the microphone there's a bunch of wind. So let's just turn them off for the duration of this video. Aircon settings all live down here. So those are the labels, and then these are the buttons that you kind of click on and off to turn aircon settings on and off. You change the output direction over here, up and down, and then it actually shows you over there what's happening. So if I click that down, you'll see it indicates over there. And then temperature on the side here, which shows up there. So CarPlay doesn't take up the full size of the screen. CarPlay just kind of has that gap over there where the screen is actually from there to there. It is touch screen, so you can press the home button and it drops you into the Mercedes MBUX system. There's a store, you get your vehicle settings, blah blah blah. It's all pretty standard stuff. All the Mercedes apps that you can install, car info, radio, media, phone, CarPlay, etc. It's all kind of in the system. Lots of stuff you can configure. There is a themes option, so if you wanted to change the theme, you could actually click there and it will change the whole look and feel of the car. It will change the theme. Changing the theme there also changes stuff on this side. So like different things you set here, and you can change the themes. You can also add favorites. So it's quite an intuitive system in terms of your customizations. Let's just go back here where we experience. Okay, but I don't want the radio on, so that's going to be turned off. We can turn that off over here. The volume control does live over here. It's kind of hidden behind this little pad. Now this pad, the cable out the way. This pad controls everything over here. So you'll see as I kind of move my finger around, you can select various bits and pieces, and you press the button, you kind of press down on the pad to make things happen. So you get vehicle, you get the engine consumption, shows you a whole bunch of really cool data, your consumption information. All of that lives inside this pad. You can press the home button, that takes you back home. Press the back button over here, and then that will take you back. So all of this is sort of configurable by this pad. I need to just mention as well that there is this thing. So this thing looks like it should be a gear lever. In other German cars, they have very similar looking gear levers, but this is not a gear lever. This is nothing other than a hand rest. So if you're driving and you want to just rest your hand here, that's kind of where it sits. So you don't rest your hand on this pad and touch stuff over there. You just kind of have your hand chilling over here. Your arm is on this center console, which has a button over there. Pop it open. There is another USB-C port over there. It's quite a deep sort of console. So lots of packing space in there. Closes up quite nicely with a sort of split opener. Ergonomically, this is quite comfortable. Can't complain. All the buttons are there, so you can kind of rest your hand there and control the infotainment system with your fingers, which ergonomically makes a lot of sense. You've got two cup holders over here, and these kind of clip open. If you press those buttons there, they kind of pop open these little flappy goodies, and those just allow you to have more sort of cup space. You can have a big bottle, small bottle, stuff like that. Those are the sort of aluminium looking finish that they like to call it, around all the air vents. It's also around the start stop button. The deactivating the start stop button sits right below the start stop button. That's pretty clever. I love that. All this kind of stuff I showed you earlier. So that's the inside of the Merc. On the steering wheel, you have lots of functions. One of them, interestingly enough, this section kind of controls that section as well. So this little pad here, you'll see as I scroll, actually controls that screen, and if you press home, takes you home. If you go back, volume control, phone answer, etc. So this is kind of controls that screen. On this side, you have all your sort of cruise control stuff over here, which is pretty standard on cars these days. And then you have a home button here, which controls this screen in front of me, and then you can kind of select various options. Again, you can customize a lot of stuff here. This one doesn't have navigation built in, so let's just leave it on trip. And then you can kind of scroll down to select all the sort of trip options. And there are a lot of various little widgets and gizmos that pop up. You can also swipe it to the left, and then that changes everything on that kind of circle. So you see those little dots pop up at the top. And as I scroll down, there are different options that I can insert over there if I don't necessarily want the speedometer in there. So that's interesting. And then the same on the other side. If I scroll there, the dots pop up, I can scroll down, and there's a whole bunch of widgets and info that I can chuck in that kind of circle over there. There are a whole bunch of display options, as I said. If we go this way, so styles and display, you can do progressive, and that just changes the whole layout of everything over there and makes it progressive, I suppose. And then you can change the display again to like a whole bunch of different layouts. So highly customizable, but that's pretty standard in the Mercedes-Benz MBUX system. So what is cool about this MBUX system, what is cool about the tech in here, the screens are incredibly high quality screens. They're very detailed. Think iPhone, think Retina. You can't see pixels. The responsiveness is like on it. The animations are all smooth, nothing glitches, nothing jittery, nothing lags. So the quality of the system, the quality of these screens is phenomenal. Good refresh rates. There's no sort of ghosting on the screen, no weird sort of artifacts on the images. So that's really nice. The little touch pads that control all the screens, for their size on the steering wheel, are actually very accurate and very responsive. So like as you move your finger, I've not found it sort of kind of you swipe it and it overshoots. You kind of move it and it goes exactly where you expect it to go. So kudos to Mercedes. Like, this system is absolutely top notch. Okay, and then lastly, let's take a look outside, because I want to see what these lights look like when you are sort of not in direct sunlight. So around the back, you have these kind of squares. That actually looks really nice. You have these LED squares over there on that side as well. It just looks really cool. That's a neat little sort of lighting cluster. And then when you turn the indicators on, they kind of sit at the bottom there. So some cars reuse the LED system, and kind of that will pulse and indicate, but Mercedes have added additional indicators below the LEDs. Like in the front, they've done that because they basically replaced that top daytime running light with the LED. And so that indicates, that flashes, and when you turn the indicator off, that's just a daytime running light. So now it's just a daytime running light. And that's what the car looks like, sort of its lighting situation at night. Oh, and there's one last thing I want to show you in this car, which is quite interesting and quite unique to Mercedes. So over here you have your indicator stalk. It's on the left. This does your lights, your indicator, does your wipers, the whole 9 yards. And on the right hand side, that is your gear selector. So foot on the brake, click up, goes into reverse angle camera kicks in. And then if you press it down, goes into drive, and to put into park, you press that button. But that's where the gear selector lives. If you enjoyed the GLB and you're looking for something similar, have a look at this video. It's the Kia Sportage, which kind of a similar size, also lots of tech built in. And thanks for watching.